we found out why Beyoncé made a lot of the songs that she did and for what reasons, I am not shocked one bit to find out that Jay-Z is a...
Y'all, this isn't gossip anymore. This isn't celebrity drama. This is something way darker and way more disturbing. Because what you're about to hear doesn't sound like Hollywood, it sounds like a horror movie. A man just came forward claiming he was hunted in the woods like an animal. Stripped, chased, terrified. He says powerful elites treated it like a game. A human hunting game. And according to him, some of the richest, most untouchable names in America were involved. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because when he started naming names, he didn't just point at politicians. He pointed straight at the music industry, Rock Nation, industry lawyers, executives, and then Jay-Z. Right as the Department of Justice quietly dropped millions of pages from the Epstein files, thousands of videos, thousands of images, and suddenly, familiar celebrity names started surfacing. Jay-Z, Weinstein, handlers, drugged victims, closed rooms. And just when the internet started whispering, 50 Cent stepped in and blew the whole thing wide open, threatening a documentary, posting receipts, calling out media silence, asking why every major outlet suddenly stopped talking. And if that wasn't enough, now former insiders, dancers, musicians, even party guests are describing late-night gatherings, kids where kids shouldn't be, rituals, manipulation, control. Coincidence? Or a pattern nobody wants you to see? Because when billionaires stop answering questions, when the media goes quiet, and when Hollywood starts panicking, that's when you know something bigger is being buried. And tonight, we're digging it up.
Nowhere came these young children. I don't know where they came from. For a rap party at 11 o'clock at night, drinking loud music and us dancing wild. Like, I don't know where these kids came from. And then I happened to sit down because I was dancing with one of the assistants. And I sat next to this child, and the child sat next to Beyonce. So I hear B say something about, doesn't this look sexy, or isn't this sexy? And in my mind, and mind you, I'm not awakened as I'm awakened now. So in my mind, I'm like, what did she just say? And then I didn't pay no attention to it. And then, obviously the liquor took hold of me and I had to leave. So I said bye to everybody and left. But those kids remained. I don't know if those kids were from the photo shoot themselves, but the fact that these kids came.
The moment those files dropped, Hollywood went quiet. Not normal quiet. Not celebrity PR cleanup quiet. The kind of quiet you only see when powerful people are scrambling behind closed doors. Because this wasn't just another court document. This was a data dump. 3 million pages. Thousands of videos. Hundreds of thousands of images. Names. Dates. Locations. And buried inside that avalanche of evidence were names the industry never expected the public to see. Executives. Politicians. Billionaires. And then, artists. Big ones. The kind of names you don't question. The kind of names protected by billion-dollar machines. Jay-Z. Pusha T. Harvey Weinstein. Suddenly, the whispers weren't whispers anymore. They were reports. An FBI intake statement described a victim claiming she woke up inside a mansion, disoriented, drugged, not remembering how she got there. And when she opened her eyes, she says multiple powerful men were in the room, including Weinstein, including Jay-Z. Now, legally, these are allegations. But in the court of public opinion, that's gasoline on a fire. Because once a name lands inside something connected to Epstein, you don't just walk away clean. And people immediately started asking one simple question. How deep does this really go? But then something even stranger happened. Instead of media outlets digging deeper, they backed off. No front page headlines. No breaking alerts. No nonstop coverage like we've seen with other scandals. TMZ? Silent. People magazine? Silent. Billboard? Silent. Complex? Silent. Almost like somebody picked up the phone and told everyone to chill. And that silence? That's what made things louder. Because when the press refuses to talk, the streets start talking. And that's when 50 Cent stepped in. Not as a friend, not as an ally, but as someone who has never been afraid to press the red button.
No, you gotta go back now and say, why was the NFL continuing to support? With all the confusion going on in the media. And maybe it's all of that found money.
That line hit different. Because it wasn't just shade. It was a question. A dangerous one. Why do corporations keep protecting certain people, no matter what? Why does money keep flowing, even when controversy follows? Found money, backroom money, protection money. In Hollywood, reputation isn't protection. Power is. And if someone's still being supported at the highest levels during chaos, that tells you everything you need to know. 50 wasn't just trolling. He was hinting, suggesting something bigger, something financial, something systemic. Like this wasn't one man's problem. but an entire machine shielding itself. And that's when people started digging into older stories. Old parties. Old whispers. Old, that was weird moments nobody questioned at the time. Until now. One of those stories came from someone who was actually there. Not an anonymous account. Not Reddit gossip. A first-hand witness. Someone describing a night that didn't sit right with them for years. A late-night rap party. Music blasting. Alcohol everywhere. Adults only. Or at least, it was supposed to be. Then suddenly, kids. Young kids. Showing up out of nowhere. At 11 p.m. At a party that had no business having children around. And what happened next still makes people uncomfortable.
To Beyoncé. So I hear B say something about, doesn't this look sexy, or isn't this sexy? And in my mind, and mind you,
now again, context matters. Memory can be messy. But when adults start describing children at after-hours parties, and words like that get mentioned, people start connecting dots. Not facts. Dots. And too many dots in one place? That stops looking like coincidence. It starts looking like a pattern. That's the word insiders keep using. Pattern. Because it's never just one story. It's never just one night. It's always. I didn't think anything of it back then, but now it feels different. And that feeling? That's what fuels investigations. Meanwhile, 50 Cent wasn't backing down. If anything, he got louder. Posting AI images. Posting captions. Hinting at documentaries. Talking about Netflix. Talking about receipts. Because here's the thing about 50. He doesn't bluff. When he says he's digging, he digs. We saw it with Diddy. Years of jokes turned into years of evidence. And now, people are wondering if Jay-Z is next. Because if there's one thing 50 loves, it's exposing what powerful people think is buried. But then the story took another turn. One that made everything feel even darker. Because what if the celebrities themselves aren't even the ones in control? What if they're just pieces on the board? Puppets. Influenced. Blackmailed. Handled. That theory isn't coming from random blogs. It came straight from someone who used to sit at the same table. Someone who knows how the industry moves. And when he spoke, he didn't whisper. He said it directly.
Jay-Z and Beyoncé.
Not you, man.
But they can't control me. Around Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize.
Control. That's the word. Control through money. Control through secrets. Control through fear. Because when you reach billionaire status, you don't just have success. You have leverage. And leverage means nobody talks. Nobody snitches. Nobody steps out of line. Unless you're 50 Cent. Or someone who simply doesn't care anymore. And suddenly, the untouchables don't look so untouchable. The empire doesn't look so solid. Cracks start forming. Old clips resurface. Old rumors come back. Old alliances look suspicious. And the question keeps getting louder. If everything is clean, why is everyone panicking? Because panic doisnoriae doesn't happen without pressure. And pressure only builds when something's about to break. And right now, Hollywood looks nervous. Very nervous. And we're only getting started. By now, this wasn't just about one name in a file anymore. It wasn't just Jay-Z. It wasn't just Epstein. It was the system around them. Because every time someone tried to treat this like a celebrity scandal, another voice popped up. Another insider. Another person saying, y'all have no idea how deep this really goes. And that's when the conversation stopped being about individuals and started becoming about infrastructure, power networks, protection circles, industry gatekeepers. Because here's what most people don't understand about Hollywood. Stars don't operate alone. They don't move alone. They don't survive alone. There's always a machine behind them. Lawyers, executives, handlers, fixers, people whose entire job is to make problems disappear. Stories vanish. Witnesses go quiet. And when you look closely at almost every major scandal tied to the music business, one name keeps showing up in the background. Roc Nation. Not as an artist label, but as a power hub, a legal fortress, a corporate shield. The kind of organization that can make bad press evaporate overnight. So when Epstein's documents started trending, and major media outlets suddenly acted like nothing happened, people started asking, who's protecting who? Because silence at that level? That's not random. That's coordinated. And then, someone stepped forward and said the quiet part out loud. Not politely. Not carefully. Directly. Naming names. Calling out the system itself.
Things that I want to call Alex Spiro, Desiree Perez, and the whole wicked system of Roc Nation, including you, Jay-Z.
Yes.
That wasn't vague. That wasn't coded language. That was a direct shot. Calling Roc Nation a system. Not a company. A system. And that word matters. Because systems protect themselves. Systems bury problems. Systems don't fall because of one headline. They fall when enough people start connecting dots. And suddenly, people started noticing something strange. Every time allegations surfaced, there was always legal pressure. Threats, lawyers, takedowns, posts disappearing, stories quietly deleted, even fan pages going silent. Almost like an invisible hand was cleaning the internet in real time. And when that happens, regular people notice. Because if something isn't true, why work so hard to erase it? Why not just let it die? Unless you're scared it won't. At this point, the narrative changed. It wasn't just, was Jay-Z named? It became, how many people knew and stayed quiet? Because insiders weren't just talking about files anymore. They were talking about behavior, culture, weird expectations inside the industry, pressure, control, and sometimes, things that made absolutely no sense. Like artists saying they were pushed to change their bodies, change their image, change their identity. Not creatively, but physically. Forced transformations. Almost ritualistic. And that's when another former insider decided to speak. Someone who actually signed the paperwork. Someone who was inside the machine. Someone who said the pressure wasn't just music business politics. It felt darker than that.
Ellie, Beyoncé was on that island where they was.
Just one sentence. But it hit like a bomb. Now, let's be clear. It's a comedian. Not a court document. But culturally, it matters. Because comedians say the stuff other people whisper. And once that word gets attached to your name, Island? Epstein? You never fully escape it. It becomes part of the narrative. Part of the cloud. And clouds don't go away. They hover. Especially when there's already smoke everywhere else. Think about the timing. Epstein files leak. Names start surfacing. 50 Cent threatens a documentary. Media goes silent. Former insiders speak out. Party allegations resurface. Industry pressure claims. And then, the island comes back into conversation. All at once. Too many storylines colliding at the same time. And that's when people started asking, is this just bad luck? Or is this years of hidden stuff finally catching up? Because here's something history teaches us. Every empire looks untouchable. Right before it cracks. We saw it with Weinstein. We saw it with Diddy. Years of whispers. Years of jokes. Years of, nah, they're too big to fall. Until one day, boom, everything collapses overnight. Because power protects you. Until it doesn't. And once protection disappears, everyone starts talking. Fast. That's the stage we might be entering now. The uncomfortable stage. Where nobody knows who's safe. Where former friends turn quiet. Where PR teams start working overtime. Where lawyers start making calls. Where billionaires suddenly stop posting. Because silence isn't confidence. Silence is fear. And Hollywood right now feels scared. Scared of what 50 might release. Scared of what other insiders might say. Scared of what else might be sitting inside those millions of documents. Because if one name surfaced, who's next? And if one story is true, how many more are waiting? That's the tension hanging over everything. Not certainty, not proof, but pressure. Relentless pressure. And pressure does one thing really well. It exposes cracks. And the Carter Empire, for the first time in years, looks like it has cracks. Real ones. And whether this turns into a documentary, or a lawsuit, or nothing at all, one thing is certain. The public is watching now. And once people start watching, they don't forget. So the real question isn't just about files anymore. It's about accountability. About influence. About what really happens behind those closed doors. And whether the biggest names in music are truly in control. Or just pieces in a much darker game. Because if even half of these allegations connect, this wouldn't just be a scandal. It would be a collapse. And collapses change everything. So now it's your turn. Do you think 50 Cent is bluffing about exposing more? Do you think the media silence means protection? Or coincidence? And most importantly, do you believe these are just rumors? Or the beginning of something much bigger? Because if history has taught us anything, it's this. When Hollywood panics, something serious is coming. And this story feels far from over. And here's the part nobody in Hollywood wants you to think about. Because scandals don't explode overnight. They rot in the dark first. Quietly. Slowly. Protected by money, lawyers, and silence. Until one day, the silence breaks. And when it breaks, it takes everything down with it. Right now, we're watching something that feels bigger than gossip, bigger than rap beef, bigger than celebrity drama. This feels like an empire shaking. Names tied to Epstein. Former insiders speaking out. Clips resurfacing. Media outlets suddenly quiet. Posts disappearing. Lawyers moving behind the scenes. And 50 Cent standing in the middle of it all, basically saying, try me. That's not normal behavior. That's pressure. That's panic. Because if everything was clean, nobody would be scrambling this hard. Nobody would be threatening. Nobody would be trying to control the narrative. When the powerful start acting nervous, that's when regular people should start paying attention. And think about it. How many stories got buried? How many voices were ignored? How many people were called crazy before the truth finally caught up? Hollywood has a history. And it's not pretty. Weinstein, Diddy, Epstein, all untouchable until they weren't. So ask yourself one thing. If those giants could fall, what makes you think anyone else is safe? Is 50 bluffing? Or is he sitting on receipts that could blow this whole thing wide open? And if a documentary really drops, who survives it? Who disappears? Who gets exposed? Because this isn't just entertainment anymore. This is power, betrayal, and secrets fighting to stay buried. And the deeper we dig, the darker it gets. So don't blink. Don't scroll. Stay watching. Because the next name that surfaces might shock you even more.